Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joshi and I'm a realtor based in Toronto, working in all of the GTA. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a place where I go into detail about properties, real estate, and financing in Toronto and the GTA. I try to make real estate fun and encourage financial literacy because really knowing what all of these things in real estate and mortgages mean is going to equip you to be a better investor, a better homeowner, a better seller, and just educated when you get into the real estate market here in Toronto. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you could take a quick second and just hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. In 2021, I'm going to be making one new video every single week. So that's 52 or more videos this year, bringing you content, information, education about real estate and finance. Without further ado, let's go. On today's video, we are discussing the vacancy tax that the City of Toronto is planning to implement. Now, it's been a lot in the news lately, and I just wanted to go through some of the policy notes so far. They haven't announced too much detail about it. The City Council has said that city staff is actually looking into studying the issue, talking to stakeholder organizations, etc., and is going to be coming back in the fall of 2021 to actually file a report and figure out exactly how they're going to implement this thing. But basically how the tax sort of started was out in Vancouver. They actually implemented a vacancy tax, which meant that homes that were going to be vacant for a certain period of time would have to pay an additional tax per year to keep that home vacant. Now, in a market like Vancouver, obviously there is a shortage in supply all the time. It's very similar to the Toronto market here, not including, Q4 of 2020 where we had a ton of listings and not enough buyers and whatnot. But overall, the tonality in the Toronto real estate market is that we don't have enough supply. We never have enough supply, right? So the reason that at City Council level they were considering doing a vacancy tax in the City of Toronto, and now they do want to bring it about, is because they want the units that are currently sitting vacant in Toronto to actually enter the market. And the reason for that is right now it's almost as if any homes that are not currently on the market or just sitting there, they're vacant, they're taking away from the supply, right? By doing a vacancy tax, by imposing that on the owners, what they're saying is that, okay, if you're going to keep your home vacant, you're going to have to pay for it. And the funds that are collected are going to go towards paying for city measures, one of which is going to be City of Toronto's affordable housing initiatives and other things at the city level. That tax is going to go into paying for that. But what it's actually supposed to do, and one of the reasons that they're saying they're going to do it, is because they want those sellers and those owners to actually bring those units to market. And what that means is either they list them, so they enter the resale market, or they list them for rent, so they enter the rental market. As you know, the rental market and the purchase market in Toronto are very, very tight in general. Obviously, throughout COVID, there's been a drop in the rent rates and whatnot. I totally understand that and acknowledge that. However, as a whole, if we look at the past few years in Toronto's history, there is a dire need for supply, right? Rents have been rising. For pre-COVID, rents have been rising like crazy. Prices per square foot have been rising like crazy. And one of the contributory factors to that is obviously that there is not enough supply. So what the vacancy tax is hoping to do, the vacant home tax, is to bring those units into the market, whether they become part of the resale market or they become part of the rental market. It's an initiative to try to spur the increase in inventory that Toronto desperately needs. Now, one thing that you do have to know about it is that they're not actually bringing it into effect right now. As I mentioned, they are doing the studies and the stakeholder conversations, and closer to fall of 2021 is when we're expecting the actual like the policy guidelines to be published. Right now there isn't much detail on it, except for, you know, why the city wants to institute that. Now, even if you're not in Toronto, if you're anywhere else in the GTA, in Peel region, York region, Durham region, etc., this could actually impact you as well, right? There's two reasons for that. Number one is the rest of the GTA often follows in the shoes of what Toronto is doing, right? Toronto is kind of the pack leader. It is the greater Toronto area that we refer to. So it's possible that if a vacancy tax in Toronto is successful, it's possible that other surrounding municipalities may also do studies and see if there is room for, if there is need for a vacancy tax in those municipalities. The other thing also is that if the vacancy tax in Toronto has any sort of effect on the real estate market, which it will, you know, one way or the other. Either we're going to have an increase in supply, or people are going to, you know, be happy to hold on to those units and keep them vacant anyway, but it just gets a little more expensive. Those investors, you know, if they want to have a home for whatever reason, but want to keep it vacant for half the year, let's say, right? Toronto may not be attractive for that particular investor, and they might want to go to a suburb. For example, Mississauga. Mississauga has a bustling downtown, great accessibility to Toronto downtown as well, but Mississauga doesn't yet have a vacant homes tax, right? So in a way, it may push those investors that are looking to hold properties. For example, people that are overseas that spend some time here. Also snowbirds, which, you know, they fly down to Florida or whatever to spend their time there during our crazy winters that we have, and then spend half the year here. They are, for example, the people that would want to keep it vacant, and in not paying the vacancy tax, maybe they'll list their unit in Toronto, get rid of that one, and then get into an adjacent market like in Mississauga or Oakville or Brampton or York region, whatever it may be, right? So even if you're in these cities that are surrounding Toronto, it is important to keep, you know, an eye on what's happening in the policies, because we are so closely knit as a region. Like the greater Toronto area is so accessible, right? It's very simple for you to cross city borders and go to a store in another location or whatever it may be. It's very easy for us to do that. And so what happens in Toronto absolutely affects, in one way or another, the GTA. So that is kind of all the information that we have for now on the vacant homes tax that the City of Toronto is planning. I will keep you updated as and when the city releases additional information about the policy, how the policy is going to work, how vacancy is going to be calculated, what's going to be included, what's excluded, and all of that jazz. Until then, if you do have any questions that I can answer based on the resources that have been published, I'd be happy to do so. Just leave a comment in the below the video, and I will leave all of my contact information at Joshi Realty in the description box below. If you guys thought this video was informative, please go ahead and hit that like button. Also subscribe, because as I said, I will be doing 52 or more new videos this year to educate and empower you to make better real estate and mortgage financing decisions. Until next time, take care.